Game development is hard. Those 4 words are understood by almost everyone in this industry. So what do you do when you reach an obstacle that you feel you truly can't overcome? The problem is too complex. There are no tutorials anywhere online. And you don't have the knowledge or the skills to overcome your challenge. If you can relate to this and you're struggling with your own game development challenges, you are not alone. By the end of this video, you should feel a lot more confident and hopefully have some direction to start tackling your problem. Because we have been working through this exact thing the last few weeks. Let me walk you through it. Our game is a metroidvania. These often have huge interconnected worlds to explore and force you to backtrack to old areas in order to find the way forward. So a crucial piece of making a well-designed world is a good, solid map. I couldn't imagine playing my favorite games that inspired me, like Hollow Knight or Super Metroid or Ori and the Blind Forest, without a solid map to back up the experience. In fact, I have vivid memories of feeling serious frustration when playing those games without a map for each area. I was already questioning our ability to make fun levels. And then with the added pressure of making a map with all the features I wanted it to include, let's just say I got a little stressed. Because I had no idea where to start or how to do it. And when you're scaling your own personal Everest, just tackle one problem at a time. It's so easy to get overwhelmed when you look at a project as a whole. There's so many tasks that need to get done, some big and some small, and sometimes the stress of that can stop you in your tracks before you even get started. Instead of focusing on all of the steps that you need to take in order to get there, what if you just ask yourself, what is one step I can take to move forward with this? And then what's the next step? One by one, the list of things to do starts to get smaller and smaller, and you are continuously moving forward towards your end goal. So we sat down for a brainstorm session. We realized we needed to take a step back from level design. So Nikki suggested we just draw out some boxes to give us a high-level, rough idea of what the main areas might look like, so that we could focus solely on the map. She likes paper, I like digital, so I just used the grids in a Google spreadsheet to draw out the boxes for the rooms and how they would be connected. So the plan was to make a map system that shows a simple overview of the world and a little icon for O2, and maybe some doors and other select items. You get the idea. There was a lot I needed it to do. The only problem was I still had no idea how to make a map for a game. And with this, I was already making my first huge mistake. I was focusing on 20 different things that I didn't know how to do. Do not do this to yourself, because if you're like me, this will make you feel like an idiot and like a failure. So like any massively competent game developer, I put on my big boy pants and went on Google hoping someone smarter than me had already found the solution so I could yoink their code. And here I felt my first little moment of panic because there was nothing. I checked Reddit, Google, YouTube, the Unity Assets Store, and I couldn't find anything that suited my needs. I wanted it to be perfect. Here was my second mistake. Striving for perfection right from the start will drive you mental. That's like an author trying to write the final draft of their book on the first try. Making games is an iterative process. You just gotta start somewhere. You can always improve it later on. Since I had nothing else to go off of, I figured I'd start with the minimap because I at least knew how to do that, and maybe inspiration would strike along the way. When you start with what you know, a few things get accomplished. For one, you actually get started. You show up to do the work even if you're not sure how. You can also improve both your problem solving and your technical skills by trying new things and seeing what new ideas you can come up with during the process. A lot of the time, just getting started can get the creative juices flowing enough to help you find your path through the problem. And in order to make a minimap, I needed to make some actual basic levels, even if they were just simple rectangles. And here I actually discovered something really cool you can do with Unity. You can actually drag multiple scenes into the hierarchy. So I literally just fit all the rooms together like puzzle pieces. I never really thought to fit them together this way before. Might seem obvious, but I seriously felt like a genius when I figured this little trick out. And with that, it was time to test out the minimap. Now this was great and all, but I still technically wasn't closer to solving any of my problems. My real problem with the map system, it was not the 20 things on my list. It was really just one. And I was feeling really overwhelmed because I could not figure out how to show the whole map with O2 moving through it room by room. Since it's camera-based, the minimap shows the player's current position in that scene only, rather than in all the scenes. And I was stuck for a good while. But then, seeing the minimap in front of me, I was suddenly able to visualize how I wanted to solve my problem. I kept wishing I could load in the sprites from the other scenes and just add that on top of what was already there in the minimap. So I just did that. I couldn't load in data from each individual scene, but I could have sprites that fit together like puzzle pieces, just like the rooms did, and just have all of those sprites loaded up all of the time, minus the room that you're currently in, because that's already handled by the minimap system. It honestly felt like a cheat to me, but it works perfectly. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. And after that, everything else just kind of started falling into place one after the other. We got the player icon in there. We got a proper minimap added to the HUD, a cursor with the ability to place markers, zoom in and zoom out options. It was a fully functioning map system.
And for the most important and final tip, I'm sure you can relate to just needing to really fix that one last issue before you're done for the day. And then of course you end up troubleshooting for hours just for the solution to pop into your brain out of nowhere when you go to make a coffee. Take breaks. Walk away if you need to. Sleep on it. Or just go outside for a few minutes and stretch your legs. Your creative juices are going to flow so much better when you're not frustrated. Take a break and come back with fresh eyes and a clear mind when you're really stuck.
Game development is hard, but don't worry, you got this because you are awesome.